Guys, welcome back to Bake by Finn. Today I'm going to show you how to stack a two-tier cake that's made of buttercream. So the first thing you're going to need for this is obviously two cakes, and this one was my how to decorate a raspberry and white chocolate cake, which will be up here, and this was my how to decorate a rosette fault line cake, which will also be up here and in the description. And yeah, today I'm going to show you how to bring the two together and stack them into one huge cake. So obviously this is quite important for a cake. You'll need dowels or some sort of support structure in the cake. And for this I'm going to be using dowels and cake cards. And in this cake I've got a 6-inch cake card that's right underneath this cake. And yeah, that's all you really need in that one. But for this one you will need some dowels. And what type of dowel you use is fairly important because you don't want to use something that's not very strong. So this is a dowel that's quite weak. I can like bend it and it, holds the shape. However, this one is really strong. I could probably break it if I tried, but yeah, it's quite strong. So yeah, I'm going to show you how to bring it all together. So when you've got the dowels, you want to make sure it's the same height as it is your cake. And by doing that, you just put one dowel going right through the centre of your bottom tier. And then with an edible pen or some sort of marker that's obviously edible, you just make a little line where the top of the straw is. And you just bring this back out and take a little bit of the cake out with it, but you don't need to worry about that. And with a pair of scissors or anything, even a knife, you need to cut where that line is, and because these dowels are quite thick and really hard to cut through, I've got a little pair of these things, and I'm just going to cut where this line is, well just under it actually, because then I know it'll be the perfect height. Obviously I can't use this now, but you get the idea. So you just put it in, make a mark, cut it, and then once you've done that, luckily I've got one that I made earlier, you get your second dowel, put the first dowel against it so that's the correct height, get your edible pen again and do the same line, and then just do the process all over again, cut it, done. And you're going to go back to the first one you did and do it again. So I'm going to be doing that now. I'm not going to get it everywhere like I did just then. And then once you've cut through that, just put them back on the table and just get down eye level and just make sure that they're exactly the same height, which these are. And yeah, just cut the rest of your dowels until you've got all of them ready. So I've got 4 dowels here, and yeah, whenever you're doing this, try and use like an even number, because you're going to have one that will go in the middle, then an odd number on the side. Well, that's just what I like to do. So we're going to bring this cake back, get one of these dowels and just place it, I use the one that had all the cake in it, oh wait, it flung off, and just place that right in the middle where the original one went. And remember, you've got to do this within the diameter that the second cake will sit on. So obviously don't go putting them around the edges because there's no point. So yeah, just place them all in where you think they'll need to go. If you want, you could even use a cake card and place it down, so then you know exactly where to put them. But I don't think that's too necessary. Another trick is, if the top of your dowel is quite sharp from when you cut it, get the bottom of another dowel and just use that to sort of press it in. So yeah, once you've done that, then it's time to add the chocolate, which I've got here. And you don't want to use chocolate that's fresh out of the microwave because it'll melt the buttercream. So yeah, if you didn't want to use chocolate, then you could use, I don't know, royal icing or even some buttercream, but I like to use something that'll set really firm in the fridge. And obviously if you've done a chocolate cake with chocolate buttercream, use milk chocolate, but for this I'm going to be using white chocolate. just grab a little bit out of the cup and pour it on top. Don't do too loads because don't do too much because when you put that cake on top, it'll just. And I'm just going to get a little palette knife and push it to the edges of the dowels, and a little bit of chocolate will go down the dowels, but that's not too much of an issue. So now that we've got this back and it's nice and clean, we're going to run it along the bottom of the 8-inch cake card, but we're going to try and get it under the 6-inch cake card which the actual cake is sitting on. And just try and find a bit where there's a little bit of a hole so you don't make too much damage. And just keep it really flat. Not going well today. And just keep running it along the base until it's starting to slide off and you can feel it coming off. And then move this over here a little bit so I can get this one off. When I'm doing this, I just prefer to have it on these because if I'm not doing a cake that's too tall, at least to get that little bit more height so I don't have to be like that doing it. Bring this back, and yeah, now's the scary bit. So get that palette knife under the 6-inch cake card again, and just try and pick it up with both hands, one at each side, and then try and centre it while it's in your hands, because it's not like a fondant cake where you can mess with it a little bit after. Once you put it down, you've sort of got to leave it there or it's going to be a bit tricky, so you don't get like fingerprints in your buttercream. So I'm just going to wash my hands because I've got buttercream all over my fingerprints. Right, so I'm looking at this now and I can see I've done it a little bit odd, not odd, but a little bit off. So I'm just going to try and get this palette knife again and just push the cake card just over a little bit. This will make sure that you're not touching the actual cake too much and getting fingerprints all over it. I'm just going to get my palette knife and just try and smooth the base out a little bit. But don't worry about that because I've got a few tricks to show you how to hide that little seam. But yeah, for now this is going to need to go back in the fridge, let that chocolate set, let the buttercream firm up a little bit. So yeah, this is actually the scary part, carrying it from here to the fridge, so wish me luck. So once your cake's come out of the fridge, it should be firmer than it was before. The chocolate should have set a little bit so it'll be more stable. And obviously we've still got this seam here that you'll naturally get because you've had to dig your fingers under it. But yeah, don't worry because I'm going to show you how to get rid of them. And all I've got here is a piping bag one. I think it's just a centimetre round nozzle. And to start off, I'm just going to pipe a little bit of my Italian meringue buttercream just along the creases, putting more in the places that need it because I had that quite big hole there, so I had to fill that up. And yeah, just going to go around filling in all of the holes and joins or whatever it is. And yeah, just fill it up. So once you've got it filled in a little bit, we're going to get our palette knife back and we're just going to hold it like this and just glide it along the edge, just smoothing out that buttercream. Just go around it once and discard that buttercream that you've just scraped off, and then just go around again. Again, if you've noticed that your cake board that was underneath the 6-inch cake was sticking out a bit, maybe don't press too hard because then you risk seeing it again. And yeah, if you want you can use your fingers to go around the join as well, but just make sure your hands are really, really clean, obviously, especially with what's going on at the minute. And yeah, just keep going until you're satisfied and when you've got no seams, no edges and no lips. So once it's got a bit smoother now, I'm going to get a cup of boiling hot water and I'm going to stick my palette knife in it until it's nice and hot. Then I'm just going to glide it round again just to make sure it's nice and smooth. I've got my cup of hot water here. My palette knife's just been sitting in it for about 30 seconds, so it's hot. And just glide it round like we did before. Don't apply as much pressure as you did before though. And yeah, this will just help to smooth it off basically. And don't worry if your palette knife's not fully in the water, it only needs to be in up to the end. And yeah, just keep going around until you're happy with it. I'm quite happy with that now. And obviously there is a bit of there's a bit of a space there. And just with your piping bag, I'm going to show you how to just fill that space up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to pipe a little circle of buttercream, and just when I finish piping the circle, I'm going to drag it a little bit. So it sort of ends up like a teardrop shape. And here's how. And then going over halfway through the one you did before, and it sort of overlaps a little bit, and then you get this sort of teardrop on teardrop effect. And it just fills the space up a little bit, and even if your cake card sticks out a little bit, this makes sure it's hidden even more, so it's perfect. So just keep going until you've went all the way around. My cake's out of the fridge now, it's all nice and set up, and I've just got my piping bag back again here, just the same nozzle that we used to pipe those little border with, and I'm just going to put some big blobs of buttercream on the inside, as when we put the strawberries and shards and macarons on, it's just got something like sticky to attach onto. Right, so if you like decorating cakes, now is really your chance to shine. So I've got some pink macarons, some strawberries dipped in white chocolate and some white chocolate shards. If you don't want to make macarons, you could always do some meringue kisses. I've got a really good recipe that you can use, and I'll put it here. Oh, that's the right way. And yeah, now just a chance to start decorating and putting it all together. Don't know where to start. It's really up to you where you want to put them. When I'm doing these sorts of cakes, I like things to look fairly symmetrical, but that's just me. And yeah, just have fun with it really, because you've done all this work and now you just get to zhuzh it up a bit at the end. Right, I think that is done for now, and yeah, this is it, my final cake design. I hope you've enjoyed this video, because I've certainly enjoyed making it. And yeah, if you really did like it, like, comment, subscribe, or you can even share with a friend. And don't forget to check me out on Instagram at BakedByFinn to follow my baking journey and see all of these amazing cakes I make. Alright, thanks for watching, bye!